Michael, what's your premise behind these two books? The first being
Alex Walker. The series is called The Adventures of Alex Walker. The first book is called Alex Walker and the Circus of Secrets. The second book is called Alex Walker and the Breath of Time. And I'm currently working on the third book, which is Alex Walker and the Lights of Temptation.
okay.
The premise behind it is that there is a prophecy. There is an immortal old dog that has lived since the Garden of Eden. He is the last survivor of the Garden of Eden. And he has wandered the world telling animals not to fight people, not to get killed by people, that one day a human being will come who can understand them, because humans and animals could communicate in the Garden of Eden. And one day a human would come who will be able to understand them again and be their voice in the human world and be their champion in the human world. And so the old dog has wandered the world telling animals not to despair, because in the old days men were terribly cruel to cruel to animals. And so he has urged them not to fight people, to just try and hide and stay away from people until the human could come who would help them. So he has wandered the world telling them this, and finally he joins a traveling circus. And in the Midwest, a young boy and his mother, who are on the run from their father, who is trying to take the boy back, and actually they don't know this, but the father is out to kill the boy because the boy is an heir to an industrial empire. He wants to get them back, and so the mother and the son are running from him. And in the Midwest, they stumble upon a small traveling circus that's encamped in an abandoned campground. And so they join them for a little while. They stay there for a couple of days, resting. And the boy discovers that he can communicate with animals after having an accident. And because he can communicate with animals, they see him. This is all being done very impromptu, by the way. He can communicate with them, and because he can communicate with them, he is the fulfillment of the prophecy. He is the human who will be able to communicate with animals.
The animals believe.
The animals believe. Well, he can talk with them, so he is the human who can communicate with them.
And did he tell him, hey, I'm not your Messiah?
He says, I'm a 12-year-old boy, what can I do? And they said, and the old dog says that you will grow into this, and I will teach you how to be this. But they know that he can't be their champion immediately. It will take them many years for him to do this. But in the meanwhile, he's going to try and do what he can for them. Starting with, he feeds animals. He feeds the band of animals in lots as the circus passes by. And in the continuing adventures, he will find animals that he can try and help and try and encourage and say, you know, this is coming, don't despair.
And how did you set it up for a sequel?
How did I set it up for a sequel? I set it up for a sequel by stopping at a given point and leaving elements that will be answered in the next book. For instance, in this book, he's being hunted not only by his father, but his father has hired a mysterious bounty hunter named Bridger. Bridger is not human. They don't know that, and the father doesn't know that, but I put things in the book which shows that he has powers which no human has. But I don't explain who he is. In the end, he leaves something for Alex that lets him know that he has a destiny, and he also has powers which he is not even aware of yet. But that I will explain this in the next book. I will explain why Alex can talk to animals and how he has this amazing background in which he's entirely unaware of. He also, in the circus, meets a young girl. Her name is Ariel. She's an aerialist, and she has an immediate connection to Alex, which she just is barely aware of. She knows that she and Alex are connected somehow, but that he's not aware of this, and she is just barely aware of it. And in the next book, in The Breath of Time, I will explain how they are connected and have been connected throughout time itself.
What's the name of the next book?
Alex Walker and the Breath of Time.
And how can people find it?
They can find it online. They can find it online at Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com.
It's published by?
It's published by Valstar Entertainment. We are self-published. My significant other actually started the publishing company and publishes us. We're a print-on-demand book, but we're also an electronic ebook available through Amazon in their format and also through Barnes & Noble on their Nook. I didn't want to discriminate against poor Barnes & Noble. So we're available in all formats. You can also contact us and we will order an autographed copy through us. We're at street fairs, we do conventions. We were just at one at Comic-Con where you could find us. If you're in the Los Angeles area, we're going to be at Kamikaze. So we're a bit of gypsies out selling our books. But again, we live in Simi Valley. You can contact us and order a book through us, and we'll be happy to autograph for it and mail it to you.
Do you do any work with humane societies?
We work the very first copy of the book, the very first proof copy of the book was donated for a silent auction to the Basset Rescue Network. When I first wrote this book and when I first started figuring how to promote it, I figured if nothing else, animal lovers would love this book. So I sat down on the internet and got a list of all the animal charities in America. There were 1,600 of them. And I wrote up a letter introducing myself, introducing the book, and sent it out to all 1,600 charities. And the Basset Rescue Network was the very first one that contacted me and asked for a copy for their silent auction. The only copy I had was the very first proof copy, but I donated to them and it raised $250 for them. Since then, we've gone to events at the San Diego Zoo to help them raise money. A woman for the Guardians for Animals in Michigan ordered 30 copies for their auctions, and she just loved it. She said her cats snuggled up to her while she was reading it like they had an energy. So my desire has always been to help animal charities, to help animals, and not necessarily the big charities. The big charities can pretty much take care of themselves. But when I was sending out the letters to all the other animal charities, I discovered that the vast number of them are little mom and pop charities in little tiny towns. And I wanted to really help them because their web pages said, you know, we need all the help we can get. So it's been my dream to try and have enough money to help the ones that very few people are aware of. And just say, here, I read your web page. Here's $100, you know, I'm glad to help. And at some point, maybe even go to some of them once I'm famous enough, assuming, that I could go to some of these little charities and say, you know, let me do an appearance for you, let me help you raise more money for you.